All right, let's lock in here. Look at how the Nasdaq finished. Very bullish. Putting my chart up real quick. All right, so Nasdaq is still holding this 4 hour right here, and that would be our 4 hour dealing range. So we're coming right here on equilibrium. Another note that I see off the rip is we have inverse this 4 hour fair value gap. Well, actually, that'd be 4-hour IFBG on this down move. What I would like, and then we also have that, let's see what ES looks like. ES looks freaking horrible to me. So that, I mean, the 4 hour is really not giving me any structure on ES. You can get rid of that. This is our previous day high right here. Don't really have, I mean, I guess I could do a dealing range from there. This IFEG now is cooked. Get that off the chart. Get this off the chart. So very expansive day yesterday. So we just got a new 4 hour candle starting here at 10. What I would like is to see some manipulation from that. So we are opening this 4 hour lower. Um, NQ for the moment is holding the 4 hour dealing range equilibrium right here. So let's see. I mean, really to me, the big NQ doesn't really have any swing points to aim for higher other than this and all-time high. Because it's ran significantly higher than ES. So this is Monday's high, current high of the week is what I have that marked as. Tuesday, June 16th. So and then Thursday, 2 p.m. right here would be our previous day high for NASDAQ. So we are holding this gap, but we've also, pushed past consequent encroachment of it. We've started wicking through it. So I wouldn't hate longing from here, even though it is a 4 hour fair value gap. I don't really like that we inverse this 4 hour though. and right in here on this last candle. I would have wished that we would have held this 4 hour gap, started the next 4 hour candle lower, and then seeing the candle begin to inverse. We have a bunch of lows down here though that are really catching my eye on ES. That to me look primed for sweeping. So this is, we do have decent 1 hour structure here on ES coming down now. And we have a H1 down here that's completely untapped. Wonder, do we have that on NASDAQ? Yep. We actually got two. Nope, it's just this one. We do have this down here that's unmitigated. You want to find the unmitigated fair value gaps on the high time frame. So I would deem, honestly, I would deem this here as a low resistance liquidity. And then all of this in here, I mean, is literally the definition of relative equal lows. So I'll go ahead and mark that as relative equals. And then previous day low down here. But we also have some, well, not really, I guess. So we pushed 4 p.m. candle, pushed up, swept what was relative equal highs, and now we've reversed. So all bearish off the start of this 4 hour. What I what I personally want to see is the manipulation of the 4 hour. I want it to be telling one story and then see it begin to flip. So ES, I mean, NQ's coming up on this equilibrium right here for the 4 hour dealing range. So what we could do, because right now we have just this little wick on the 4 hour candle. That to me is not really good enough. I want to be involved when I get a big wick on the 4 hour and I start seeing it flip. That to me is showing me the market is manipulating people out because it wants to move. And then likely whatever target you're aiming at in that direction is going to get hit. Unless you're just like overly greedy and you try to, hit 300-point trades all the time. So we got 10 minutes to close of the first 30 minute. And then we also have, I mean, because man, these lows down here are really jammed up. Even on the hourly, you got here, you got here, you got here, and then down in here. I mean, all of these I'm really deeming as relative equals. You could also even look at this as trendline liquidity or low resistance liquidity. Why is that? Because it hasn't been swept yet. It's building up liquidity without any liquidity sweep, which the market likes to hunt. So maybe from here, what I would like, uh, maybe not a 1 hour, maybe like on this 15-minute or the 30-minute, is if this extension down doesn't swipe all these levels, if it leaves, I mean, the more of them it leaves, the better. And then we start getting some kind of push, and then we hit some fair value gap up in here, whether it's a 30-minute, a 15-minute, whatever, or even this hourly that's forming right here, right now. Um, if we do that, yes, that's hitting a fair value gap. Yes, we have good targets. Yes, we would be shorting on ES, which is the weaker index. So all that lines up. But for me, the timing would also line up because here's my 4 hour candle open. If I manipulate into any of these fair value gaps in this area, then I'm also forming the high wick of the 4 hour candle, right? If these down here, if this, all these relative equal lows are going to get hit, what do I need my 4 hour candle to look like? Well, I need my 4 hour candle to at least look something like this, right? So where do I want to short from? I want to short off the wick. So that can help you both in your positioning of your trade entry, but I use it less for that and more for timing because right, we don't know this 4 hour candle right here, it could just be a doji candle and do this for 4 hours, right? We don't know. But if I see impulsive manipulation in one direction, tapping into a PD array on a higher time frame, and then I start seeing the V shape out of it, then I'm much more confident that the market is ready to move. And all I need to do is catch an hour ish expansion or a 1 hour candle expansion, not necessarily hold for the whole hour, but just an expansion piece of that 4 hour. Like if you hit a chunk, if you get a chunk of, oh, see, this is great. So what is it forming right now if this holds? Quiz to the class. It's forming another relative equal low to this, right? You can't tell me that this ain't is not going to get swept. And if it doesn't, I will lose on that trade. I will lose on that trade every freaking time that it shows it to me. So, all right, now looking at, so we got 6 minutes on the 30-minute. So we could potentially open this 30-minute gap. If this continues to push up aggressively, it could close that inefficiency before it actually forms. Looking at the 15, though, we already have this gap here. So let's get this gap marked out. So this would be a 15 bearish fair value gap. And then we can also look at our dealing range on this 15 chart. So from the last swing high down to the swing low, look at this. Equilibrium right at the fair value gap. So what do we want to see? I mean, yeah, ideally, because it's close to the 4 hour open, I would rather the fair value gap be higher, giving me more of a wick. But I think that we're in Asia session, so maybe we're not going to get as much expansion and manipulation as we would in other sessions. So that's what's catching my eye right now. Let's go look quick here at NQ because NQ is definitely the bullish pair right now. And the last thing we want to do is take something off a trade, a short off ES, and then NQ just sit and chop, or so it's already hitting its equilibrium right now. Has a very tiny 15-minute fair value gap there. There's also unmitigated fair value gap up here on the 15. and up here. The these fair value gaps got mitigated here and down, mitigated lower, close. Yeah, I think what's catching my eye on NQ is right here, because it's left that one behind. It's filled all these imbalances on the 15 all the way down. So you had this one, oops, this one came in tap fill, and you had this one form. You wicked into it, filled. Now you had this one, and that one got left. So maybe we can get a tap there. Could potentially also be getting a 30-minute, like I was saying a second ago, depending on how this holds. So what I would really want to see is at 10:30 when the next 15-minute candle and the next 30-minute candle starts. Say that we start here. I want to see it open in the opposite direction of the way I want it to finish. So I would want the candle to start bullish, push up, and then come through, come at equilibrium, come at this fair value gap. You even have this order block right here that I could come into, and then start showing me rejection signs on the lower time frames that it's wanting to turn over. Let's see what we get here. And then I think target wise on both of them, both indexes, should just be these lows in here. I don't think we don't need to be greedy on this trade in this market at all. So off the top of my head, just seeing what I see now, what I would like is probably to enter right on the 4-hour opening price, somewhere close to that. Once I see the turn start to happen and the 4-hour turning back bearish, we could put that'd be a 1-to-1 right there. Didn't really get the order block protection. Maybe something like that to scale out and then hold runners down into these levels. Depends on how wide you usually are putting your stop. I don't hate having a wider stop. I mean, I hate losing when I have a wider stop, but I usually do. You have a higher win rate the wider your stop, right? You just got to find your balance to your strategy and your win rate for your strategy. If you have a 65, 70% win rate, in my opinion, there's no reason that you should be trying to run 5-to-1 RR, 6-to-1 RR trades. Now, if you're at a 30% win rate, then yeah, maybe you need to look at your RR and widen it or increase it. I mean, How's everybody doing tonight? The markets were pretty rough today. Did y'all hang in there all right? This looks good to me right here, boys, girls. Y'all aren't chatting, so I don't know who's in here and who's not. But so we got a very, very tiny 30-minute here. I don't really care too much about this because of the size of it, but I mean, it's still valid, but I like the 15 more. But this is also, so it actually inverse this 15 on NASDAQ, but that was in the discount, so it's not too surprising. All right, now looking at ES, so we're actually sitting in this 15 now, which is in the discount, which I don't really like taking trades out of the discount. I really want to see what this thing does around this 4-hour open. Remember, like, I need everybody to understand this that tunes into my stream and like tries to understand how I see the market. Each session has a 4-hour candle that pretty much is the session. The New York AM, the 10 a.m. candle shows the session. That is the session's movement pretty much. The 2 p.m. shows the session's movement of New York PM. The 2 a.m. shows London. 10 p.m. shows Asia. That's how I think of it, at least, right? So, what do I, if I want to be right, if I want to be on the right side of price, what do I need to, what do I need to do? Well, if I get the direction of the 4-hour candle of that session right, then it's very hard for me to lose money. If I get the direction of the 4-hour candle right, it's very hard for me to lose money. The only way I can lose money if I have the 4-hour candle right is either I hold too long because I'm being greedy and I'm not getting out at the swing points under, I'm not targeting the right swing points. I'm being too ambitious, or I'm not timing the move correctly. Usually it's because you're not timing the move correctly. That's what kept me unprofitable for like the last year of my unprofitability. Most of the time I got the target right, most of the time I got the direction right, but my entry timing was wrong. And again, that's why I like using the 4-hour candle as kind of or 1-hour candles, like the 11 a.m., 1 hour during New York AM. You could do the same type of thinking off of it. I want to see it open in the opposite direction. I want to see it manipulate into some area, some PD array, some support resistance, something, whatever you're trading. I want to understand why it's stopping there and starting to turn around. And then I want to have high conviction in my target in the opposite direction. And once I see that 4-hour candle start to flip, meaning, it opened, it's going bullish, now it's flipping bearish. I want to get involved and I don't want to overhold it too ambitiously. I want to be right in the middle. I don't want to cut it too short, right? But I also don't want to sit in it too long. We form this 5-minute here. So 95% of the time my actual entry will come off an IFEG on the low time frame, but all of it, my my trade idea, my targets, and my timing of the move is all deemed off the high time frame. And I really don't move, honestly, I really don't move past the 15 minute unless like I already know what I'm looking for. And now I'm just um, zooming in to get my entry. I will not go. I mean, I have the 1, 2, 3 minute, up here. I will use those, but only in the only probably 5% of the time, probably less than that. At the very, very end, when everything else is matching up and I feel confident in what I'm doing, I used to spend much more time on those lower time frames, and man, it's like it's just so chaotic. This is good. Do you see this? Do you see this right here? This is exactly what I want to see. Do you see this impulsiveness? What does that tell? What does that show you? Well, you could say, well, this is showing you this is very bullish. Yeah, I mean it's a bullish candle, but in the overall big picture, what is this showing you? Well, because I have high confidence in my draws on liquidity underneath us, we have bearish structure on the 1 hour, right? We've broken our last swing low. We've shifted structure, changing the state of delivery on the high time frame, clear draws on liquidity underneath us. To me, that impulsivity is manipulation. I want to see them liquidate orders before I get involved. Once I start seeing that, and I start seeing the 4 hour candle roll over towards my targets, that's showing me that the market has cleared out orders to take it there. So that gives me more conviction that, hey, this 4 hour candle is going to deliver to my targets. Impulsivity, bearish, pretty bearish close on it. This is looking good up here too to me. Look at this. Look at this. To me, this is great. Look, 15-minute dealing range, swing high, swing low. Where did it go to? Right to equilibrium, filled the 30-minute. It also has a 15-minute overlaying it right there, and then it starting to doji. I like it. About 30 seconds on this 5 minute. Let me go grab my drink real quick. I'll be right back. All right, let's see what we got. Pull back a little bit. Not anything too crazy. It would give me a higher conviction if we could hit these 15s up here, because that would be ES rebalancing into its five equilibrium. Sorry, that would take Nasdaq a little above it, but maybe it's just like a wick into it and close back around equilibrium. Because remember, this is a 30-minute right here. So, I mean, this thing could spend a little time getting up here and then fall back down before the 30-minute time is up and still be respecting it. Also, keep in mind that we're at equilibrium on NASDAQ. Swing low. Last last bearish candle, bullish candle uh, on the high time frame. So if we're going to get a bullish bounce and continue towards previous day high, which hey, I mean we may, right? Um, that would be a place to potentially see that. All right, so here's our drive, like we were just talking about. Here's our drive into this 15. I like this. Here's our 4 hour open here. So right now, our 4 hour, hopefully, we would be wanting something like this for our 4 hour candle. So we'll see how ES is acting right at its equilibrium now as well. That's a 15-minute equilibrium for uh, context. And you give me some energy. Because to me, looking at NQ is the more bullish index. Clearly, we just inversed a 4 hour fair value gap here on the last, whoops, on the last 4 hour candle. If this 4 hour candle was going to be bullish, I would have expected this candle to respect this bullish 4 hour fair value gap here. And then when this next one, this one that we're on, opened, maybe it wicked lower into equilibrium and then started pushing back up to form a bullish 4 hour candle. Sorry, I'm not a good artist, but oh, hold on. I got to have my charger plugged in. And then this also adds a little more context to our trade idea, actually. So we have the inversion of the 4 hour fair value gap on NQ, the more bullish index right now. And now our 4 hour is started here. It is opening higher and retapping the 4 hour IFEG, which is totally reasonable to see. Totally reasonable to see it retap the IFEG. We want to see it um, we want to see it start to uh, at low. Not a huge fan of, see how it started and moved lower, and now we have this pretty significant wick on the bottom, and now we're pushing back up. I don't hate it because I have other reasons that And these candles can definitely change bullish, bearish more than just one time, obviously, especially while the candles first, in that first hour. So now here on ES, we are back to origin. Let's get back on this lower time frame so we don't miss anything. So back to origin here. So if I look at the 5 minute, I only have this one 5 minute gap way down there. I really don't want to wait all the way until that thing inverses, although that may be the safest route. The safest way to take this trade is to wait for the more bullish index to flip this 5 minute right here. Why? Because one, it's the highest time frame fair value gap on your manipulation leg. That's part of it. But there's also that it would be flipping the 4 hour back bearish at basically the same time it would be inversing that fair value gap. But that would pretty much chalk your RR. I mean, I guess not really. Depends on. I guess not really. Even to that first swing, it's not that bad. Terrible. Now, the problem with ES is it is the weaker index. That's what I want to be taking my shorts on, ideally. Problem is, you look at the back to the 1 hour here, the targets on ES are much closer to where we are than if we look at the 1 hour on NQ, your targets are way down here. So we may, if we wait for this 5 minute to flip on NASDAQ, this may already get all the ES targets may get swept already. I feel like that's like one of the hardest parts about trading is you know what you want, you know the direction you want, but the indexes are not uh, perfectly like aligned with where they are in the current leg. So we'd be opening up a huge 1 hour gap here on ES. Uh, so if we were to put stops at the top, call this the 4 hour high, we would basically have this fair value gap sitting right on top of our stop loss, which is obviously not ideal. But I love this candle right here. This to me is looking good on the 30 minute. 15 minute looks okay. I mean, it closed underneath consequent encroachment of the 15 minute fair value gap, which is 50% of it. We got a little 3 minute that went inverse there. Let's get ES back. I mean, NQ back down on its low time frame. See that gap up right there? That right there to me is showing you impulsivity. That's how you can read that without order flow. The candles will tell you the story. So right here would be the last 5 minute low. So this would be our change in the state of delivery on NQ, and we've actually already hit. Well, no, we haven't. We don't even have a low on. We'd have to take the 3 minute CISD on NQ. So you see how now only now am I getting down into these low time frames? Let's see if we get a little pop up off this 5 minute. We can always take the trade off the inversion of the 5 minute, and we could probably still squeeze out enough profit, like something like this, and just bring this down to the swing high or something. We just started a 5 minute though. I don't love that. We got some 1 minutes in here. You see how when that 4 hour candle starts turning over, do you see how it's rolling now? That's what we want. We want to see that impulsivity opposite direction, and then we want to see the kind of the levy kind of break on it. So we got a 1 minute in here. Let me start thinking about my size. So take about a third risk here. So that would be, let's look on the 15. That would put me above that 15 fair value gap. They would have to inverse the whole 15-minute candle to stop me. That would be for 13 MES contracts. And then we could run that all the way down there. That's a 2.81 all the way to the bottom. Yeah, we got 5 minutes, got 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes left. We're opening a 3 minute potentially right above us. We wick through the 5 minute over here on ES. Not in any trade yet, guys. We are processing. I don't really like the structure at all of these low time frames here in Asia. But what I do like is now that we've changing the state of delivery off this down close candle in the 3 minute, we don't want to see really it start to grind over the CISD line. Wicking at it is okay. Maybe it closing slightly above it is okay, but we definitely don't want to see it start holding and closing, multiple candles there. I hate when I leave that marker on accident. All right, we should be getting really close to our 5 minute close. Yeah, 1 minute left on the 5. We do have pretty nice 3 minute right here on ES. And we would definitely want to see rejection off of this because that would be climbing back through our change in the state of delivery. I'm going to get this 15 gap off because it's already ran through it in both directions. So I'm pretty much calling that gap cooked for now or forever, I guess. The 5 minute has a very, very bullish close on it over here, but NASDAQ is not telling the same story. So now NASDAQ has a 3 minute right here. We're looking at our position being around 13 micro ES contracts. And that would put us at $350 risk just above this 15-minute fair value gap. We are trading on a funded account. So we're tapping now into this. We could also look at our 3 minute dealing range. Here's equilibrium right here of the 3 minute range on NASDAQ. This one doesn't look as pretty, but there's our equilibrium on um, ES on the 3 minute. So we should have 5 minute closure now. Okay. 15 minute has 3 minutes left. So this is the last of the 15 minute candle, the last 5 minute interval. Look at that. You see that? That's what I want to see there. Popped in, touched the M3. Here's our equilibrium. Let's see how it's got 28 seconds on that close. Let's watch how that closes. 3 minute over here is tapped in. And I get actually ready to enter the trade, guys, I'm going to have to switch this chart over here to the MES contract or the MES chart. So all these drawings are going to go away for just a sec, but I'll add them over there as well. I like this closure, this push away. I like it. 5 minute candle now it's got 2 minutes 40 seconds left. The question is, do we wait the 2 minutes and 40 seconds and try to get a IFEG over here on this 5 minute? Because we are more bullish on NASDAQ, but we also don't want to chalk our RR to our first scale out point, which is there. 5 minute candles already put in a high. All right, swapping to the MES contracts here. I'm gonna get my order ready. Actually, hold on. Something I didn't consider here, boys. Why is my thing not switching? We're coming up on a new hour, and I just talked about how we're leaving a massive 1 hour fair value gap. Hold on. Hold on, boys. This is about to set up even better. Scrap that. Scrap it. Don't enter that. This is what we're going to get. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what it's going to be. Well, NASDAQ's is pretty high up there. Let's see how this hourly opens. Even if it doesn't tap all the way up here, it still should give us some context, unless it just runs through all of these lows on ES right off the jump. That's our risk. But holding through the top of the hour has not served me very well in my trading career, especially because we haven't even flipped these 5 minutes. So I'm gonna choose to sit on my hands here for this 35 seconds. See what this entails. So here's our 1 hour. This would be good 30-minute close on this 30-minute here, good 15-minute. I mean, all this is looking good for lower to me. We're flipping back through the 4 hour on NQ. That looks good. Here comes our top of the hour run up. Let's see. See, this is why I didn't want to see. You see that right there? Do you see that spike in volume? You don't know where it's going to stop. I don't really see any level other than this 1 hour that's really sticking out to me. That could give us. We could deem this right here as resting liquidity in the market pretty easily. Because what if we would have just taken a trade? Where would our stop loss have been? It'd have been right above this 15-minute fair value gap, basically right above the swing high, right? So we could have easily been liquidity off of a really good trade setup. So I'm going to deem this to be liquidity. Everything that we were looking for was there, but it took a little longer to all form. And then we were at the top of the hour, or I guess the bottom of the hour, about to start a new hour. So now the question is, does it want to come and attack this high, touch the H1, and then give us this delivery? Let's see. I like the impulsivity up off the jump though. Let's look at the 30-minute, make sure we're not, oh, that's the 30 that's already gotten tapped. So we also respected this 30-minute on ES, but that's already gotten tapped. So I'm less worried about that. Usually when I top of the hour or the new 4-hour candle, I usually want to find the untapped fair value gap. I'll use order blocks, but I just like fair value gaps more. I don't know why. I guess it's personal preference. Nothing against order blocks, nothing against support and resistance. But you want to find, where is this candle going to push into in the opposite direction of the way that I need it to actually go in for my trade to hit, right? Where is it going to stop? Where is this wick going to stop, right? And for me, the way that I'm determining that, or finding high likelihood places, is using, fair value gaps, um, other key areas. If I see an hourly or 4-hour candle start, sweep a high of like the last 4-hour or last 1 hour, tapping a PD array that's been untapped with, it's fresh. Oh man, then you're getting to like A plus plus setup territory for me. So we've ran up a good bit and we are pulling back now. Still respecting this 3-minute. That may be it, right? I mean, sometimes when they start, like, it's not going to be, I mean, what, let's see, that was only about 9 ticks on ES. On NQ, that was 54 ticks. So, I mean, it doesn't always have to be 100, 200 point, especially during Asia. So now we're back at the 4-hour opening price over here on ES, and we are clearly rejecting it. 5-minute candle's about to close here. Let's see if we can get under it on NASDAQ, under this 5-minute right here, 38 seconds. We really would ideally here leave the swing low intact so we could have a nice stop loss to break even point. But I like the big manipulation wick for the hour. I like it. Now I'm seeing that, okay, my 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time 1-hour candle, and my 10 p.m. 4-hour candle both have manipulated up and then started to turn over to the downside. And I have very clear draws on liquidity that I'm confident in, relative equal lows underneath me. That is all just adding more and more and more context to my trade. Now we have flipped this. This is now M5 IFVG. I'm going to go ahead and swap over here, guys, to the micro chart. And let's start framing out this short. So if we got in here, I mean, really, I don't really want to give it more than that. Where can I see my risk? I'm gonna go short here. Says I can pretty much scale two more in. I feel confident enough. All right, stop loss is going on. I'm basically going to run stops right to the top of this 15 gap. Put it right there, buy stop there. All right, and then as for targets, since we don't have all of our levels marked on this chart, we're going to draw them quick. So we got relative equal lows all down into here. And then you could also deem this, in my opinion, to be low resistance liquidity. So ideally, in normal conditions at least, new 5 minutes opening higher. It's retesting our 5 minute. That's okay. Let's get our 5 minute fair value got marked over here. It doesn't even have it on ES or MES. We had a 5 minute somewhere in here. Back on ES here, just looking for that. Yeah, it's right here. Okay. Yes, candles formed a bit different there. So that's a 0.81 risk to reward. So we'd want at least a 1-to-1 before we start taking anything off. But I think, in my opinion, not financial advice here, but we should just fall through these levels if we get there. The hard part for this trade is just to get to this first swing low. Once we hit this first one, these should all fall because it's low resistance liquidity. Creating new highs without sweeping, doing any kind of liquidity sweep. All right, that would be our very bottom of our TP. Let me get rid of this purple box here. That was for new week opening gap, which we've already balanced. Rid of this. All right, 40 seconds left on this 5 minute. So we would want, because let me make sure I'm explaining this good. So because we have low resistance liquidity built up, trendline liquidity here, we're making higher highs without liquidity sweep ever coming to sweep the lows. I would expect that if it hits this, then these levels will get hit probably decently fast without much kick back up, kick down, kick back. You're probably not going to get a bunch of that. It should be pretty aggressive on the way down. So considering that, again, our hard part of this trade is just getting to the swing low and fighting the bullish NQ over here. It's not bullish on the 1 hour, but it is still bullish on the 4 hour because we have not gotten past equilibrium of the 4 hour dealing range. So new 5 minute candle is opening higher, which is okay. Want to see this thing start getting pumped down. I think this is going to be a good spot to go stop loss to break even because like I said, if this first level gets hit because we're targeting low resistance liquidity, it shouldn't have too much pop up, pop down, pop up, pop down kind of trend to it. I think it should deliver pretty quick. Or not quick as in time, because we're in Asia. It may take a minute to get down all the way down there. But I mean, in the sense of like, you know, a bearish candle, a bullish candle, two bearish candles, one bullish candle, where it's just like this kind of grinding back and forth battle. We want to see definitely a good bearish close on this 15-minute candle in 3 minutes. I see that we're kind of fighting to save it right now. So my eyes are definitely on that. NQ to me is looking great. I didn't get the best fill in this trade, honestly. It put me at the very bottom of this freaking 15-minute wick, which is definitely not super ideal, but I guess that's what we get for playing the prop firm game. See if we can get some extension this last 2 minutes of this 15-minute candle. Things we also need to be careful of is looking at this swing low here on NASDAQ. I would probably mark this on your charts to also be considered stop loss to break even though our trade's over here on ES. The reason for that, from my experience, if this takes the swing low and then this doesn't, now you'd have this SMT at the lows. I would not want to hold my trade with a decently tight stop loss when I just SMT'd at the last, 15-minute and 1 hour swing low. I would rather go stop loss to break even there, potentially get tagged out at break even, and then just re enter if the trade still looks good. Protect the capital first. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that on both of my charts as break even. Only way that this doesn't really work well is if NASDAQ gets a big extension and ES is kind of holding up, and ES is only a few ticks past my entry, and NASDAQ's already taking out the swing low. That I might potentially hold my risk here, my stop here for longer. But if they're both trending down, I would like to take risk off the table at the swing low. So we're going to close, outside of Trump tweeting or something crazy. We're going to get a good 15-minute close here. So I like that. Even though we're only a few ticks in profit, got a good manipulation wick opposite of our trade. Again, our battle is just getting to the swing low. I think if we get to the swing low, it should be okay. So the 15 opens opposite of the way we want it to go. Oh, wow, look at that. Now I got to be very careful. This is what I was just talking about. I have a current SMT that I have to be aware of right now. This is a bullish SMT until I get this. So I need to be very, very careful with my risk. I'm holding my stop loss for now. I really want to see this thing fall through. I really want to see this thing fall through. I really don't want to see this thing flip back bullish at all. And then if it can hit this first black line right here, like I said earlier, this thing should just fall all the way through them with some speed. Come on, ES, tick down, tick down. No. Yeah, there we go. All right, stop's going to break even. Risk-free trade at this point. Let's get our levels up on NASDAQ here. So our first, man, it's way down there. So we've taken out our first swing point. I'm going to turn this line to a dash line to show that we've swept that. We are now pushing through equilibrium on the 4-hour dealing range on NASDAQ. I like that. Only 2 minutes into this 15-minute candle. Stops at break even. If we get taken out on stops right now, then I think the trade's still good. And we can just look for re-entry. So I'm not too worried about it. We want to see this thing cook. So just for transparency or due diligence, I guess is a better word. Let's mark those same 1-hour lows on NASDAQ that we're targeting on ES. So it'd be this one, this one, and that one. And we would mark these as our relative equals. Hey, everybody still in the stream. I appreciate you guys tuning in to the stream tonight. Follow my channel. Catch me for my next stream. I like when y'all drop what country you guys are watching from. I think that's cool. I've had people from even countries I've never even heard of, you know, coming here and trading with me live. I think that's one of the coolest parts about this. We got level 1. That looks good. Getting a little kickback here, but to me, I don't see any kind of liquidity that we have swept that could potentially cause us to go up. Now, a few ticks up, sure, but I mean, like, actually change trend, I don't see it. We may, let's see, we got a 15-minute low right here on NQ that maybe we can watch. Just as a potential spot that it could sweep and then start to bounce, even if the long term or even if like the session trend doesn't change, you still can, we still may want to maybe trim some profits there or something. We'll see when we, if and when we get there. So we're passing the 5-minute mark. So new 5-minute candle here opening. We are leaving. I'm gonna get rid of this SMT thing because obviously we don't have an SMT there. Um, so we do have potentially a 5-minute fair value gap forming in here, depending on where this candle ticks up to. But I do like that our stop loss is above it. So we could potentially have a 5 minute fair value gap as protection between us and our break even, which a fair value gap on the 5 minute for protection is never a bad thing. We are now forming a 15 minute as well. Let's look over here on ES. No, it's not showing on ES. On NASDAQ, we would potentially open this 15 minute in 8 minutes or so. So let's keep that in the back of our minds. So we got this 3 minute forming, huge 3 minute from that extension. Got a clean 3 minute dealing range right here. Tapping that 3 minute fair value gap right now. Hey there. I'm going to scale 2 here. This is going to take me a little closer to my. And then I'm just going to update stops to break even. I still have that 5 minute fair value gap is going to probably be as protection to my stop. So I like the scale in there. I like that reaction a lot out of the 3 minute to continue to drive lower here. Remember, we should, since these are all low resistant liquidity levels, we should just plow through these. So for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and put my buy order all the way down here, but I more than likely will scale profits at some point. 15 and adjust that as we go. And then um, looking at NASDAQ, I think we're clear down into this 15 minute swing low at least, which may give us just enough time to get down here on ES. 1 minute left on the 5 minute candle here. So we are definitely going to be getting a 5 minute fair value gap. That will potentially want to get tapped into. So we have hit this second level now, but not really a good sweep of it. For me to count something as a true liquidity sweep, I want to see at least a 1 minute candle close underneath the liquidity target. To me, this is just relative equal lows all over again. All right, last 5 minute on this 15 minute candle. See if we can get. We need a new swing low over here. Seems like Nasdaq's kind of lagging now. So I am going to go ahead and mark this 5 minute out. To me, it makes sense for it to want to rebalance this, but maybe, I mean, obviously, I'm just going off my gut instinct, but my stop and break even is right above it. Obviously, I would rather it just start falling through all these levels, as we all know, but I don't hate it if it wants to tap this. Right now, we are having a very low time frame SMT at the lows right here. So that SMT may give us a little push unless it comes and closes it. Come on, close it. It's not wanting to right now. So we want this SMT to get invalidated because ES is cooking. So second level now is a clean smash. Got us a 1 minute candle closure under it, so I'd call that a fair sweep. About halfway done on this 15 minute candle. I'm sorry, on this 5 minute candle. We would be getting a new 30 minute and a new 15 minute candle in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So we definitely want to, this SMT could be pumping up for these higher time frame candles to have some kind of up wick on them. So fifth, let's start with the 1 hour. Let's look what we're cooking like. So 1 hour opened. We thought originally that it could want to target this off that 1 hour open. Obviously it didn't. And it was a really long way away on NASDAQ to get there. So the 1 hour is looking great for our trade. To me, 30 minute, we do have a gap here, but we've already wicked into it twice. So I'm less worried about that. 30 minute on ES is the same. You've had this 30 minute gap here, which you've already wicked into it. Good extension there. Man, look at that 30 minute candle. This is why, I'm going to keep saying it. This is why you watch the 4 hour candle formation. You cannot just come in this market and trade ICT concepts or support and resistance, opening range breakouts if you don't have context on is the market ready to move to what I am targeting. If you don't put that layer of thinking into your trade idea, your timing is not going to be there. It's not. There's a reason that I came on here at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and started this stream at 10 p.m. because I got a new 4 hour candle. What did I want the 4 hour candle to do? I wanted it to wick higher and then start to turn over. I want everybody to look at this 4 hour candle on ES. And I want to target all these jumbled up lows. Don't be too greedy. Just take the next noticeable, obvious draw on liquidity. Will this may run all the way down here to previous day low? Yeah, it might. But I don't need all that. I don't need all that. I'm not running a hedge fund. I don't need all that. Sorry, I'm just seeing this. Do you think NQ will still reverse once ES sweeps New York low? Or does NAS have to follow suit? Let's look. Let me just, you said New York low? Are you meaning Let's see, New York low would be here. This previous day low right here. Catherine, are you talking about this the previous day low right here? I'm not really too sure if it sweeps previous day low. I don't know. I would really want to still be shorting. Really just depends on, I mean, you have these low. I mean, you do have some lows in here you could target lower, but I think of my trading, I really just want to get one, usually within a 4 hour candle, you're gonna get one, at least one of those hours are gonna be kind of a doji looking candle or very impulsive in the opposite direction of what the candle's really gonna close looking like. Something like that. So you can't really just buy and hold for the whole 4 hours because then you'll get killed in drawdown. Really, all I want to do is get the direction of the 4 hour candle of that session right. So I'm in Asia session right now. So I'm playing the 10 p.m. 4 hour candle. Um, but really, within that 4 hour candle, all I really need is 1 hour of uh, uh, the expansion of 1 hour candle within that 4 hours. When does the 4 hour start to show its hand? ICT calls it tipping it, the market tipping its hat to you, kind of giving you all those clues. So on this trade, let's see what she said. Thanks, Catherine. I appreciate it. Yeah, New York session low. Yeah, I don't. I mean, Nasdaq is definitely more bullish. It's definitely the more bullish index. What caught to walk you through my trade idea? So when I came, I usually don't even trade Asia, but with there being a bank holiday tomorrow, I was I was just willing to, come and look at what I saw. So right before this session, Nasdaq inverse this 4 hour fair value gap. And then I also noticed that it did not inverse this larger bearish fair value gap. Now, it definitely pierced all the way through it, but it still respected it. If it was going to be bullish, if this candle that we're on right now was going to be a bullish candle, then I would assume that it would have respected this 4 hour fair value gap. So it would have closed somewhere in here. And then I would have been looking for 4 hour candle start lower and then show me reversal signs to get me some kind of bullish candle like this up to previous day high. That would have been my trade idea. But because I inverse this 4 hour and then as my next 4 hour opened, even on the high time frame, what is it doing? It's just wicking into my IFEG, right? And okay, now what do I target? Um, 4 hour. I usually like getting my targets off the 4 hour, but in this scenario, it's not super clear. So if you look at the 1 hour, though, to me, you see how you have a low, a low, a low, and a low. And if you notice in between these, like when these lows are being made, none of these lows are sweeping the last low. You have no liquidity sweeps on any of these lows. They're just stacking on top of each other. So in ICT, he calls that low resistance liquidity, or some people call it trend line liquidity. It's one and the same. All it means is you have a bunch of lows forming or highs in the opposite direction forming, and you have no sweep on liquidity. So those stuck out to me as uh, low resistance liquidity area. And I mean, the 4 hour started right here on ES. So for me, this was the clear target. And what I was telling the group earlier, I'm also on Kick. I know you're on YouTube, but what I was telling everyone earlier was because this is low resistance liquidity in here, I would assume that once it hit this first level, once we hit this, I was pretty confident that all of these were going to get hit. If you're trading into normal swing lows on the 1 hour that are not low resistance liquidity, you don't really have that same confidence. But because none of these have gotten swept and they're all just built up, if our hard part, quote unquote, hard part of our trade, if you go back and look at like our actual entry, our hard part of our trade was just getting to that first swing low and then getting to that first low resistance liquidity level that I have marked. Once we hit this, you can see it's just falling through these levels. And that's why ICT is big on low resistance liquidity runs because these trades will just kind of melt very quickly, especially when they're on the short side. I appreciate it though, Catherine. Follow my channel. I try to stream most days. I just started streaming live, I think like 2 weeks ago maybe. So I'm still kind of new to it. So I haven't scaled any profits yet. Not trying to be greedy. The reason I'm not scaling profits yet is just because I have conviction that it's just going to continue to fall through these levels. And I'm not really seeing anything to tell me otherwise. I have this random kind of M15 swing low mark because looking at NASDAQ's chart here, that's really the first swing low that we're going to have to probably go through for all my final TP to hit. That is really the only thing I see in our way that it could potentially want to reverse off of. So I may scale some profits out at this level. So we might get a tick back up here and open a 15-minute in here. Oops. So let's watch for that. But to me, this was the hardest part of trading for me to get better at was sitting in profit and not taking profit too early and having full confidence and conviction in what my belief of the trade is. Now, I protect my capital, rule number one, but rule number two for me after protecting the capital is to let the trade run. I would rather this thing come down and then stop me out at break even and then re-enter and get the delivery than to sit here and scale out here, scale out here, scale out here, and then I only got, 5 contracts left down here when I had high conviction of that level getting hit. So 5 minutes left on this 15. I would like to see this 5 minutes start offering some selling pressure. It may want to tap this 5 minute. See what it wants to do here. I mean, it's pretty close to it now. I would be surprised if it didn't tap it, honestly. My concern right now for getting stopped at break even is the start of the next 15-minute candle in 3 minutes, because we would get this fair value gap or whatever, wherever this wick ends up. This would be our 15-minute fair value gap. And obviously our stop is very, very close, where like a wick or something like that could potentially take us out. Question now becomes, do I back my stop off? But I really don't want to. Gotta stay disciplined. All right, 15 minutes looking better now. So we did get some selling pressure that we needed. Nasdaq's looking good as well. If this 15 stays slightly bullish like this and leaves us this fair value gap here, we could potentially look for an additional scale in up here, but it wouldn't be, because once I get my stop at break even, anytime the market comes back close to my stop and I can add to the position without any downside risk. Does that make sense? Like, if this creates a 15 right here and the market comes back against me to tap it, if I scaled in at this price, that would only bring my break even point down just a little bit, right? And then I would be getting a lot more, leverage on the position. So as much as I can, and this isn't invalidating my trade. This isn't really like going against my main idea of this kind of downtrend down into this level. So it's still matching my idea, still going in my direction. Anytime it pulls back towards my break even point and hits a PD array or something that I have marked, I'm I like to try to scale in because I can get more size on the trade without, with still break even risk. The 31 seconds left on this. Catherine, are you deleting the message that you sent, or is that YouTube doing that? Because it says message retracted. It sounds like it's you. That's fine if you did, but I just want to make sure that I don't have some setting or something on there that I don't know about. All right, here's our new 15-minute. Let's go ahead and get this 15-minute fair value gap marked. Nasdaq's is freaking huge. So this is our last 15-minute of the hour. So that's pretty important. I don't see probably form a 30-minute as well, potentially. Let's see if they keep this candle going down. Um, a little surprising that I didn't want to tap the 15, but this is not an exact science skill set. So if this continues to stay down, then this will be a 30-minute gap that we may want to tap at the top of the hour. She said, no, I'm not deleting. Huh. I'll have to research why it's doing that. It's interesting. Because I see your last message, but all the other messages all say retracted. Hmm. I'll have to get Grok to help me on what I'm doing wrong with that. If you had another, if you had a question in there that I didn't answer, uh, copy and paste it again for me, please. Hesitating. So we got an unfilled 5 minute and an unfilled 15. If it doesn't tap the 15 here, the 15 will also be a 30-minute at the top of the hour. I would ideally just like this thing to fall. I asked, how did the London trade go? I was in the same trade when Trump started talking and ruined the trade. Are you talking about uh not like last night, but the night before when I was streaming London session? Oh my gosh, Catherine, I feel like honestly I'm like 5 years older from that trade. Usually my trades are like 20 to 30 minutes or something. That thing, I literally sat in that trade for like 6 hours. How did that turn out? Um, I scaled that TP1 in that like first hour or so I was in it. The TP1 came pretty quick, and then I just sat in it, and then yeah, Trump messed me up, and then it ran through my my break even stop loss, and then it ended up dumping right to my previous day low target. So I was actually really frustrated with that trade because it like I had it mapped out, in my opinion, really good. But see, that's an example of like that idea came off of this 2 a.m. 4 hour candle would give me that delivery to previous day low. It just didn't. And really, it waited all the way to the 10 a.m. New York AM candle to finally give the delivery. But it sure had me tricked that the 2 a.m. was going to do it because it's set up really good. We swept the previous 4 hour previous 4 hour high, which was also Asia high. I think we tapped a 4 hour fair value gap while we swept that high, reversed it. That had every bit of my finally took the daily candle with no wick. Yeah. Yeah. It though honestly looking back where I probably went wrong is like when you have FOMC, you really need to just like take the short like right at that TP1. I think I was up like on the whole position. I think I was up like 500 something dollars, 600 something dollars, but I only took maybe like I don't remember the exact number, but I think I made like $250 or something that day. Um, I think even I was trading in London session. FOMC wasn't until 1 o'clock p.m., 1 p.m. So in my mind, I really wasn't even worried about FOMC, and I thought that the volatility around FOMC being later that day was going to help my trade. But really, I should have probably just like not been so trying to like hit the extreme of previous day low. I probably should have just, you know, taken bigger profits at what I had as TP1 and held some runners that would have obviously gotten stopped at break even, but I probably should have handled it, managed it better. But the trade idea was definitely there. That's cool that you were part of that trade. Yeah, that thing was brutal. It was like watching paint dry. Usually when usually when I trade London, like it doesn't obviously take that long. But I like looked down and it was like 3 a.m. and I was like, okay, let's get in this trade. I think I got in at like 3:45 or something. And then I really wasn't even watching the time, but then I looked down again and it was like 5:30 and then it was 6. I was like, geez, man. I took a picture of like my little trading view tool of the short, this like green and red box. And it all literally it looked great. And then it just sat here and did this for like 4 hours and then went and then it ended up like this. So yeah, you gotta have some serious stamina to make it through that thing. So we got just under 5 minutes left, top of the hour. We're gonna more than likely open this as a 30-minute. All my eyes are on the swing low. I really need the swing low to get taken. It's kind of stalling out. That's so funny. I'm in San Diego, so when I was in the trade at midnight, didn't sleep till after New York opened. Oh wow, you stayed up all time the whole time. Profiting $40 on that trade. Yeah, I was like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, that $250 is like the that's the longest I've ever been in a trade to make $250, I think, in my life. But I will say, like, that's the crazy thing about trading is like if you don't have those that like kind of frustrate you, even that's what I've noticed more now that I've gotten much more profitable in my trading is like when I have quote bad days, it's really not me like blowing my account up. It's not really me like uh you know taking some big loss. Most of the time a bad day is like I either made a decision that I looking back shouldn't have done, or I just didn't manage a trade the way I should have to maximize the profitability of it. And that's definitely what I did in that trade. I didn't maximize the profit of it because it went down. It went past TP1 a good bit, went back up, and then went all the way back down, basically to that same swing low again. And I didn't take any profits at either point. So live and learn, I guess. $40. Yeah, that you worked hard for that $40. You work in the night shift for that $40. I think of that every time I so basically I don't trade London like every day, but if I'm up at 2 a.m., I'm in Florida, so 2 a.m. my time. If I can look pretty quickly at 2 a.m. like just off my phone. I saw you fall asleep at this. I don't doubt that at all. I don't doubt that at all. I still have a day job, so I'm kind of insane. People call me insane. I didn't go in as early as I usually do that day though, to say the least. I probably wasn't as productive that day as I am other days either. I need this SMT to fail. Coming up 1 minute till top of the hour. Carrying the SMT into the fresh hourly candle. Not a huge fan of that, but our high time frame is there. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark this as a 30-minute. But that's something that uh like people in like my family and stuff like they know about me is like I I don't sleep. I'm not like one to like sleep 8, 9, 10 hours a night, but I can also sleep anywhere, if that makes sense. This needs to be bearish. So let's see if this wants to open up higher. Let's get this 30-minute marked out over here. Goodness, that thing's huge. On in Q. I don't know if we have anything Don't have anything on the 5 for it to tap. So it's either going to go to that 15 or that 30 right here, or it's going to keep going down. It's the only thing I can see that it might want to draw into. All eyes right now on the SMT at the low. I need it to get ran. How long have you been trading, Catherine? So here's that 15-minute swing low. I was saying I might take some off at. Um, Maybe I could take 5 here. Yeah, I'm gonna take 5 there off that extension. Take this down to 10. And then down here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the 5 order right on the line. This is just a trick that I've learned to just try to max my profits. I'm gonna do 5 there. Make sure that I get the 5 off. And then I'm just gonna take one orders kind of down underneath it. I mean, I got 10. Oh, big wick here. Don't really want that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is not an exact science. Something like that. And what that helps me do is usually at the when it takes a key liquidity spot, usually it will push and extend as it's getting to through it. And that helps me close positions at that uh, more of the full range of the extension. Since COVID, me too. Probably 3 years. Took me a long time. Yeah, I think honestly, that sounds pretty close to me, honestly. But my first probably year and a half of profitability, I was like minimally profitable. Like coming out of the month like 0.5% up or break even or maybe 1%. Like 2% up was like a really good month. Really, all I had to do to get from that point to where I am today is to take out the dumb losses that I was taking, trades that I had no business taking. And once I did that and I got better like vision for what is my A plus setup and what do I need to see to enter, once I really dialed that in, it like I already had the knowledge. I already knew. Do you do props? Yep, I do. So I just got I actually made a TikTok video of doing it. Um I did a like a screen share for like I just feel like there's so many like hacks in this industry, that like try to like stream and act like they're actually trading. And so being kind of new to it, I thought it would be transparent to just like obviously I blurred out like my username and me putting in my password and all that part of it, but I basically started the video like I showed me signing in to Alpha Futures, and then I went and it had my 5 they call them qualified, but funded accounts that I was signing contracts on and like paying for, like new ones. Um, and then I went to my billing details and basically showed like in the same time period that I passed these five accounts that I just showed you. It showed eight evals that I ran basically in a 2 week period. So in 2 weeks I passed five, failed three. But I trade evals very aggressively. Like I'm going for $1,500 profit, or I'm basically blowing the account off one trade. But so that's a 62.5% pass rate on the evals. I'm running 50Ks right now. I haven't really tried to go much higher than that yet. This is not really what I want. So we've taken the swing low. Now we're rejecting. We've taken all the levels except this last freaking one. See if this 5 minutes starts getting pushed down here. Second half of the candle. I only do 50K. Just trying to stack multiple accounts and trade base hits. Yep. Hey, that's the name of the game for me. I I think it took me a while to, obviously, one, the first hurdle was getting like good at trading and where I could do it profitably. Then the second big hurdle was just like, okay, I have the skill. How, like, it sounds a lot easier than it actually is to use the skill once you have it. I think that's kind of underestimated. Because sure, you can make money, but you can also like really maximize the money you're making if you play it smart. That looks good. I want this thing to keep getting pushed. So right now I'm trading these five qualified alpha futures accounts, and I'm not copy trading right now. How I trade is or how I do the props is I basically rotate the accounts every day. So I'll trade account one. If I win the trade or lose the trade, the next day I'm going to account two. If I win in London, or if I don't really trade Asia too much, but especially London, like when I win in London and say I'm up $500 on that account, I will continue to trade that same account in New York, because I don't have consistent, I don't do accounts with consistency and funded. So if I already have $500 in profit from London, I'm not going to force a trade in New York, but if I find a good trade, I would rather take it on that account that already has a $500 profit in it, so that even if I lose, I'm still even on the day. That's how I think of it, at least. And my drawdown doesn't move at all. Um, so I do that, but basically every day I'm cycling the accounts. And why I'm doing that is I've just noticed that if I kind of change which account I'm trading, if I like, for example, on these five accounts, I have one account that I lost. Yeah, you're right. It's very good for the mental. So this is why, though, like if you think about it. So out of these five accounts, I have four in profit and one in drawdown, right? So the one and it's just one trade that I lost on it, right? I think it's down like $600 or something, $500. The one account that's in drawdown, I will leave it there and I will not touch it until I find just like the trade of the week, or ideally the trade of the month. And like I'm really freaking confident on it. I'm not going to over risk. I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm still going to take the same risk. If I win that, then that account's back even. Um, if I lose that, then, of course, I just continue to do that, and I only go to the drawdown account when I have a like freaking mint setup. And what that helps me do is the day after I lose a trade today, right? And that account's in drawdown now. Then tomorrow, when I'm trying to bounce back from a loss, I'm not trading an account that's in drawdown. I'm trading, one that's in profit or even. And that to me mentally helps me keep like my foot on the gas and going forward. And then as long as I'm doing that, then that one day when I get that really good setup that I'm really confident in, me going and taking it on the drawdown account isn't really that big of a deal to me because I've been trading accounts that are in profit for the last say 7 days. So I have that uh, kind of momentum to myself mentally that trying to trade the drawdown account the next day to me is very hard. But I will say that's something I have to do that for live money, like live capital, because that is like obviously everybody's like end goal with prop firms is to scale it up, get live capital and trade your own money, right? So at some point, like that kind of training wheels or whatever you want to call it, like some point I'm gonna have to take those off. But for now, playing the quote prop firm game, that's really helped me. It's a little more money up front to like get, more than one count to where you can really do it like that. But I have better results doing it like that. So in May, in I think the second half of May, last couple like 2 or 3 weeks of May, I was trading really well, but I only had two funded accounts with Lucid, and I just kind of it just kind of popped in my head, and I was like, for the next couple weeks, I'm going to try to get max allocation. So I, um, aggressively started trading evals to get the 5 funded accounts, and now I'm just cycling them. So I think the best account I have is maybe like 2K in profit, and then I have some that are like 1,200, 1,500 ish. And then I have one that's like 600 drawdown. Yeah. Yeah, I used to copy trade too. Now what I have been considering now that I have the 5 funded accounts is kind of like my, just like my like underneath me, like I have like good amount of funding and good amount of accounts to cycle through. What I have been considering is going back to Lucid, the flex accounts, which also don't have consistency during the funded stage. I have been considering going and basically getting evals and just tying one eval to one of my alpha funded accounts and do this. Just don't even think about the evals and just trade it like and let it copy what I'm doing on my alpha funded accounts. And then once they're funded, just like keep the same process going. That's probably my next step, but I'm not quite there yet. All right, new 15-minute candle. This 1 hour to me is kind of ugly, to be honest. I don't like the manipulation wick in the opposite direction. Getting a good push down here off the beginning of this. Honestly, I'm going to start getting ready to probably scale some profits here. Try not to have a repeat of the other night where I sat 6 hours trying to hit TP. But yeah, Trump's definitely changed the trading trading world for sure. I've had it a couple times work in my favor, but man, when it doesn't, God, it hurts. I've had a few trades where I've entered and then like 5 minutes into it, it just bam, TP. And I just kind of like look up and I'm like, dang. I'm like, thanks, Trump. But then a week later, he like screws me. Uh, may not give us this delivery. No, yeah, you're right. Like I feel so lucky when that happens. I think I don't get me wrong, that's only happened maybe twice. Yep. Stopped out on a wick and then it goes right where you're aiming. I know that feeling. If this starts buying this 5 minute back up, flipping bullish, I'm gonna start scaling out more. See what this fog looks like. Oh shit. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to hit enter. Whoops. Well, I just took profit there. That may end up being a good call. I need to adjust all my orders down here now. We have an S&T on the 5 on NQNES. What's the S&T? This one's cooked. Took New York session lows. Oh, from the leg over here. Gotcha. Good call. Appreciate it. That may kick us back up. Because remember, we have this big 1 hour up here that it may want to draw into before London. I mean, I'm seeing the selling pressure, but it's getting bought back up pretty quick every time it's ticking down. And the 15 is looking freaking ugly. We definitely don't want this 1 hour to start flipping back bullish. Mark this. How's our H1 opening price? Mark that on NAS as well. Good 5 minute close there. See if it can finish the move. I hate that I sold or bought three. Need to go down here and adjust this. Cancel. Something like that. and India comes into the market at this time, so the volatility picks up. Cool. Well, hopefully it will come in our favor. Don't need that much freaking more. I feel like this is that London trade all over again. So 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes left on this 5 minute. Need it to start getting pushed down. I want a really good book bearish close to this 15. Not really seeing any new P arrays forming. It's kind of just chopping. See if we can get a flip here. Flip and go. Basically only need one more lower low on the 5. Are you gonna trade London tonight? I think so. I probably am too. Just because with the bank holiday tomorrow, like I don't really see myself trading New York AM. London will target Asia session highs. You're you're probably right. I'm planning on doing it. I mean, it's only an hour and a half from when I consider uh London opening anyway, so it's really not even that far away. So I'll probably hop back on for that as well. Uh, if you want to join. Uh, New York has been cooking me lately. Yeah, I mean, some people like put this like crown on New York AM, and I understand why. Because I mean, obviously it has a lot of volatility. If you're right, you're gonna hit TP quick most of the time. What I do love about New York AM is you can tell very quickly if there's volume in the market or if there's not. Like you can see very quickly, is today a good trading day or is this just going to chop? I feel like it shows that very, very evidently. Whereas these London and Asia sessions, like, can't really always tell. Like, you can see some see it move in and get in, and then all of a sudden it just stops and just dies. You rarely have that in New York AM. So I do love that. Um, but at the same time, like I think these other sessions are all often overlooked because you can get some pretty clear setups and it's not super volatile. A lot of the times what I see at least like in London, if I'm wrong on the trade and it's going against me and I start seeing clues on the lower time frames and the higher time frames are starting to show a different picture than what I was thinking, most of the time I can get out of the trade before I even reach my stop loss because like the clues the market is showing me is flipping my bias. I'm starting to see the opposite direction. This is not the trade that I signed up for. I want to get out, right? Um, in New York, if you're wrong, you're going to be wrong. It's gonna stop you out before it starts showing you that you're wrong. Does that make sense? Like in these, a lot of the times I feel like I can catch, oh, this is something isn't right, something's not lining up anymore. Let me just get out and wait for more information. And I find myself when I do take losses, they're like little scrapes rather than like full 30-point stops or 40-point stops. We got about 3.5 minutes on the 15 and the 30. Let's take a look. Yeah, this 15 looks great. I think if we I think if we have a strong close to these, then we should be okay through the start of the next one. I really want to hold for full TP now because I accidentally sold, or keep saying sell. I accidentally bought three here on this, and I really didn't even mean to hit enter. But hey, I guess it's better than a loss. Still like 1.8, so it's all right, man. I've done worse than that, so be positive. I try to keep a glass half full approach in life. TikTok here. Yeah, I'll have to figure out why it was deleting some of your because now like the messages that probably the last like 10 or so, like none of them are deleted. Like all of them are still there. But it was redacting some of your stuff, which I don't know why. I may have something, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't really messed with too many settings. Maybe it's a YouTube bot. Yeah, probably so. 5 minutes flipping. All right, here it comes. See what it wants to do. I really don't want to give up all this unrealized gain. Just need one more lower low, man. Come on, ES. You're at the finish line. Oh, I like it. So we've scaled, I had 15, so just a touch over half of our total position. Come on, take the swing low, take the swing. Really don't even care if it SMTs this low because I think if I get ES to punch through this, I should be good. Here she comes. See if we can catch this full extension. 2 minutes left. This thing could keep cooking. I don't know. That's a pretty long 5 minute candle. Maybe right there be a max. Need one more big push. At least take the 5. Nice. Now I'm just gonna crowd it. See which one gets hit first. See if NQ is showing that it wants to take the swing low or not. Right now, I really hadn't even swept it, in my opinion. Could have taken it there. I wasn't watching my freaking time. Could have closed that before that 5 started. Come on, pop through. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That one was 11, about an hour and a half. Appreciate the love, Catherine. All right, I'm gonna get off for a bit. We got about an hour and 20 minutes or change on the London 2 a.m. candle open. I'm going to aim to take a break until then, and I will pop back on right around that time. Be careful holding this any further than this. Anybody on kick or I'm still holding. All right, everybody. Catch you on the next one.